María Jesús.
Y yo soy Stephanie.
Gracias por escuchar otro episodio más de Empodérate de Chicanos por la Causa. ¡Empezamos! ¿Qué tal? De vuelta aquí en el estudio original de Prensa Arizona, Empodérate de Chicanos por la Causa. Le damos la bienvenida el día de hoy. Gracias por recibirnos el día de hoy. Estamos de manteles largos, Stephanie, con un invitado muy especial.
De manteles largos y me traje mi whole foodie persona para conocer, para que conozcamos juntos a Senior Foodie. Yo ya conozco a Bryan Soto.
Bryan Soto.
Pero a Senior Foodie, a.k.a. Bryan Soto, al revés, ¿no? Bryan Soto, a.k.a. Senior Foodie.
That's right. Hey, what's up, everybody?
Thank you so much for joining us. And so he was just telling us that this is his first podcast, live podcast. So we are thrilled to have you. Thank you so much. And the other connection is that you're just down the street from Chicanos por la Casa.
That's
You've been
right.
working here like in the same neighborhood for a while. Thank you so much for visiting us.
Yeah, of course.
I know.
Pleasure.
Yeah, I know you say you're not used to this, but I feel like you're probably more of a natural, right? Because it's like, this is a topic we're going to get into, which is one of my favorites. I know Maria Jesus is also a big foodie. And I mean, just knowing, following you off of Instagram and TikTok, I know you're a foodie. We want you to be very comfortable here. We want you to be, this is a Spanish and English podcast. Today we're going to do fully English para que estemos todos like in our most natural, ¿verdad? Communication. Because we really want to make sure we get you to tell us a little bit more about how it is that you came to be Senior Foodie and just this little, ¿cómo diré? Like a train ride, no? Van 2 years. It's been 2 years since you started the Senior Foodie journey.
So actually, the account was created back in 2016.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so I just never really posted that much content. It was just one of those things where it's like, it was a hobby of mine to go out and try new places. And if I liked something, I would post a picture of it. You know, it wasn't a big deal. I would post maybe once a week, once a month. I just never really kept up with it. But then this past 2 years, that's when it took off. So that's when I started to post almost every day now. And
that's how you're so active in the last 2 years. Okay.
So how did the whole start, though? I mean, we all like foodie, but you made it your passion. How does that? You're very strategic about it, too.
So I think my passion for just trying different food started when I was young. So growing up, my family's Catholic. And every Sunday after church, my family would take us out to go to a different restaurant all over the valley. And that was the one thing I look forward to every Sunday.
That's true.
After church, like, we're going to go try this place, you know?
We used to have menudo right after.
Yeah.
En la cafetería de la iglesia, they had menudo. And I remember, you're right.
I do remember the fact that, so it's funny because I didn't like to go to sleep early, so I would not wake up early, but when you would be dragged out, you had to be like dragged out to church. You're like, I don't want to go to church. But the food part, it's like either I stay home and eat cereal or I go to church and we eat something bomb.
So they grab you with food. And they're like, everybody was all, dressed up and figure, we're not just going back home. We might as well just make it a day. That's awesome.
And it's nice. It's really good. They take you to the fancy restaurants on Sunday, right? Well, not all the time, but that's when you can get the family together to go outside and eat, right? Usually.
That was our way of bonding, our family. We weren't rich by any means, but luckily we were blessed enough to have enough money to spend that one day of the week going out as a family to eat together.
Exactly. And, tell us a little bit about, so you're telling us a little bit about, your family. What's your background? What are your origins? Where does the Familia Soto come from?
Good question. So I'm originally born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. I grew up in East Phoenix.
Yes.
So that's where I grew up.
We go back.
Yes. And on my mom's side of the family, they grew up in the West Side. So growing up, I spent a lot of time traveling back and forth between the West Side and the East Side. So I'm very familiar with the valley.
That's why your content's particularly in West and
For
South
sure.
Phoenix.
And like Central Phoenix.
Yeah. South and Central. That's really cool.
And so your parents are from Aguascalientes and Sonora. Was there a particular food from Aguascalientes? I'm curious that, your parents made at home for you, or that it's just really about you guys' family?
So my mom is from Sonora. So luckily, she's a great cook. She does
A lot of people from Sonora are.
She actually enjoys cooking for the family, and so I always appreciate that about her. Is like every day of the week, she made something different, if we could. There were days that sometimes we had to eat Maruchan,
Como la luz aquí, la camiseta.
I'm a Maruchan baby.
So Stephanie's wearing a Maruchan shirt. Right?
Yeah, I'm a Maruchan
I love
baby.
Maruchan too. I just want to make it. I am going to come clean.
Right. I'm not bashing a Maruchan. I love Maruchan.
Pero le echas de todo lo que encuentres en la casa también.
Sí.
You have to make it your own.
Absolutely.
And so exactly, I feel like that's the thing, right? But that thing you just said about being lucky of having a mother who loves to cook and something every day, because Mexican and the Latino Hispanic style, traditionally the cooking, it's very intricate, it's like from scratch. They're making salsas from the day. They put they're planning the night before what they're gonna do. So when you get a cooked meal like that, I always do my happy dance. Do you have a food dance?
I do. Or I also do this with my head a lot.
That's how we know
when it's
he
really
likes
good,
it.
that's how you know it's
He
good.
shakes it back and forth.
That's the cue.
So you'll notice in my videos too, when I take a bite of something and I start bobbing my head like this, that's how you know I approve it.
We're going to count how many times you do it.
Yeah. If it's 10 times, it's like the best thing ever.
Definitely we're heading there.
We're gonna see how many best things ever you think there are out there.
Right.
Y hablando de your mom's cooking. Now that we're in the holidays, it was just Thanksgiving. What type of, and we're getting into the holidays navideños, what type of dishes are your favorite during these times que cocina tu mamá?
That's tough. I think the number one thing that I look forward to every holiday season is the tamales.
Oh, of course. Yes.
Particularly
Has to
the
be
red
there.
chili pork. Like that is the number one tamale that I really, really love.
The red chili pork. See, that's that's my mom's favorite to make. I like red chili beef.
Me too. I like that.
I have to, that I don't care how much I've ate already. I'm like, un poquito con un cafecito.
Pero me gustan con papas, las rajas de papa.
Yeah, those too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Those are so good.
I like olives in mine. I'm sorry. I know I know certainly like here at CPLC, there are people that don't like olives in their tamales, but I'm sorry. I
What is it? Unpopular opinion? Unpopular opinion?
Aquí también en el estudio con Verónica.
Okay, there is...
Oh, hold on, funny story.
Sí.
I almost got canceled.
What?
Because I posted on my stories, I said, olives don't go on tamales. And then, like, not even 5 minutes later, I had so many DMs from people like, like, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't speak for the Mexican people. And I'm like, okay.
The tamale eating people?
Yeah.
No, yeah. So I've seen posts like that too in the past. Like anytime somebody brings olives and tamales, there's always a long thread. And then the other ones is cilantro. There are people that like cilantro and people that really hate it. And I was like, oh, this is odd.
Yeah, the cilantro. I mean, okay, but
I'm team olives, but I respect if you don't like them.
But see, here's the thing though. That was a learning opportunity for me because then some people offer it and say, hey, I know you don't like olives here in tamales, but that's because you never had a good one. So I'm going to make you a dozen
it's always
with
that one
olives.
a dozen.
And I said, okay, let me try it. Because that's what I do. I got to at least try it once.
Sí.
Right.
And sure enough, it changed my perspective.
Yeah.
Really?
And I appreciate it. Yeah.
It does.
I didn't know that.
You have to
Mira,
get it. You know, it's that.
Tenemos a uno que convertimos.
Yeah, you have to, and then those ladies know not my cooking. You're gonna say yes to mine. But the thing is, that's why I don't like to ruin people's before you try this, let me make sure that someone who really knows how to make this
Right? Yeah,
gets this to you.
Yeah.
That's why we need to go to the right place to try things.
Exactly.
And so speaking of that, so you were very strategic from the very beginning, right? You grew up in East Phoenix, South Phoenix, and then, but then you were looking at certainly their connection through food in your family, but then you saw that also on mom and pop restaurants. And so that is really awesome. Tell us about that. How do you get started into giving them a platform?
Yeah. So I think growing up, and once the social media age came, when everybody had Instagram, and, eventually TikTok came along, I was always watching other content creators, and there's really amazing content creators out there. Some local ones too. But I just felt like nobody was really taking the time to promote or feature places that I grew up in,
Right.
in my community.
Right.
A lot of people were running to Scottsdale, downtown, and there's great places over there. Don't get me wrong. Every now and then, even you'll catch me at a nice spot in Old Town. It depends on the mood.
We'll be out there, bunchies.
Right. But yeah, I just felt like there needs to be more representation.
Right.
Right.
Like this is Phoenix. Like this is like a huge food capital.
Yeah.
And especially we're not too far from the border. We have a lot of amazing, authentic Mexican restaurants.
Yes.
And most of them are not getting the love that they deserve.
Right.
So that's kind of what motivated me to start Senior Foodie and just push that. And ever since then, I make it my mission to go every week, every chance I get, to a new local mom and pop shop.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So how do you hear about the spots now?
So half of it is just luck. Like I am driving around the city.
Really?
I spend a lot of time driving out because I have friends all over. So on the way to places, I keep an eye out. I'm driving on the street looking like this. And if I see something that looks interesting, I'll try to screenshot the map location. And then later I'll follow up to see if there's maybe a Yelp page, maybe there's a Google page. But most of the time, these businesses don't have anything.
Wow.
They don't even have social media.
They're really from the barrio.
So you have to, part of it, you have to be in the streets. You have to look. You have to talk to people, network. So that's part of it. The other half, it's people reaching out to me. So they'll come to my DMs or they'll email me, say, hey, Bryan, my mom owns a restaurant. We're hidden in behind this neighborhood.
Nice.
And we would love for you to come by. Just give us a shout out and try all the food you want on the house.
Nice.
And they'll tell me that, So it's like, all right, cool. So I have a list. If you see my phone, I have a long list of all these places that I've yet to try. And a lot of them are West Phoenix, South Phoenix.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that ties into my next question. How do you believe sharing knowledge about Mexican foods or Latino foods empowers the Mexican American community or Latinos, especially the younger generations or, the generations that are coming up that are interested in the same?
That's a great question. So this is my take on that. Growing up, my parents always told me that you have to go to college. College is the only option you have to success. And luckily everything worked out. I went to ASU, graduated, got my business degree.
Ooh, Sun Devils.
Yeah. And
They're like, I did it.
yeah, and everything turned out okay for me. I'm glad, and I'm glad that my parents pushed me. But at the same time, I feel like there's different paths to success.
Yes.
And so when you tie in the food industry, there's a lot of people out here in Phoenix that want to pursue a career and maybe one day opening their own shop.
Right.
And selling their own tacos. Maybe somebody who has a recipe passed on from generation to generation that no one has no idea about, and they want to introduce it to the Phoenix market. I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important anytime that I go out and promote these places, sometimes or every once in a while, somebody will reach out and say, hey, your video inspired me. Now I want to do this. I want to be a chef. I want to be a business owner.
Right.
So I think some of that content that I've created has motivated a lot of people. And even people who maybe started small, people who started selling it in the garage, in their front yard.
Yeah.
Which we're seeing a lot.
Yeah.
Like we had Wonderful Tacos.
Sí,
He
que también
started
hacen eso.
selling in his backyard.
Yeah.
And when they see the potential of how one video can go viral, it's like motivating for them. It's like,
It's
okay,
true.
we got to connect with the content creator, and hopefully that will boost our business. And so we can take the next step and maybe open an official restaurant, create an LLC for their business and just continue to build from there.
I think that's the thing that I can connect with you on, that being someone who we are involved in the community. I've also used my platform to share some restaurants in Tucson, just because I like to talk and I like to eat. So I combine the two, and I love making videos. I would have never figured that out during school, that I was so into videography, that I was so into food, because my mind wasn't in that. My mind was in surviving the day to day. My mind was on making sure that my transportation was covered for school, that my food was covered for school, that my siblings were taken care of to cover babysitting while my mom was working, which I know we know the struggle very well. Like that struggle is a very relatable struggle from West Phoenix, Central Phoenix, South Phoenix. I mean, this is our hood, right?
Right.
And not to mention the rural communities too, right? Then you have the farming areas, and then the migrants in Yuma County, and then so many in Nogales. I mean,
and
you'll find those neighborhoods.
Exactly. That same tone and sentiment is why we're able to connect within so many different communities, because specifically what we saw here growing up, it's relatable across the generations. But the point that I'm trying to make is that we are sometimes unmotivated because we feel like there's not a lot of opportunities, right? We don't have a lot of opportunities, or it's unattainable. But this has brought a new level of visibility for not only businesses, but for people who want to have a platform for themselves, right? So I really can see that. And how do you, as a content and influencer, I know that influencer is a word that is used very differently, but let's just say you influence in the community to take action, right? To take action with whatever it is. What is the reason you started this platform for yourself?
There's a couple of reasons, but the biggest reason on why I started this platform was just to give a voice to the people here in Phoenix that are underrepresented. I think it's really important that everybody gets featured, especially the places that deserve it.
Right, the good food ones.
If you got a good product, you need to be heard. Like, people need to discover you, and I'm bringing that to them. I feel like a lot of other content creators don't have the same intentions. They're looking to see who's willing to pay for me to come out and promote them.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, like once in a while I will do like a paid partnership where in exchange for content, they'll pay me whatever X amount of dollars. But most of the time I just do it out of the love for the game.
Yeah.
I support, and sometimes even when they offer to give me free food, I said, no, let me support your business.
Right.
I'm still going to promote you, but let me pay for my tab.
Right.
So what do you do when you don't like the food? And then my mom and Bob restaurant is the best because my grandma's recipe, and they give you the whole story how they started, and then you taste the burrito or taco, whatever food they had.
Ever since I started doing this, there's only been maybe like one or two restaurants.
Really?
Maybe three that I did not like. I won't mention them out of respect for their business.
We'll get the tea later.
Maybe we'll
tea
talk.
time at 3:30.
But there's been a couple of places that I just don't like, and I've seen a lot of people hype them up. And personally, I just didn't like it. I didn't have a good experience.
Right.
So when that happens, I'm just not even going to mention it. I'm not going to bash them on social media.
Right.
If somebody was to ask me privately, then I would give them my opinion. But just because I don't like it doesn't mean that you won't like it.
Right.
So that's why I rather not say negative reviews on social media. But it has happened a couple of times. And when it does happen, when I'm hosted at a restaurant, I insist on paying. So they don't feel like I need to do something in exchange, right?
Yeah.
Like I owe them a favor. So I'd rather just pay and we're square.
Right. And so I'm just
That's
here
good.
to try
And that's the end of that.
Right.
That's true, because it's true. That's where you get into all of these, tiffle taffles, where you want to say, but like you said, you have the love for the game. My other question is, what challenges have you faced in representing the Mexican American culture through food? I know you do other diversities because you have, like you mentioned, a lot of friends in different cultures, and we love the different flavor infusions and cultures. But how have you overcome some of these challenges that you've faced through food?
So some of the challenges that I experienced as a content creator, I think one of them is when my followers will say, like, hey, that's my place. Like, don't put this. Yeah, like, they want to gatekeep.
So they are very territorial.
Wait, what do you mean?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so sometimes, every now and then, I'll have people that want to gatekeep their favorite taco shop.
Oh, yeah.
And I get it. I used to be in their shoes. Like, when you discover something that's
The
low
line's
key.
getting longer.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, somebody comes in, a foodie guy comes through, puts them on social media, now they're viral. Now, what used to take them 10 minutes to wait is now an hour wait, and that is very common.
That's right.
It's true.
Yeah.
But see, the business needs that money,
And that's the way I look at it. At the end of the day, we are helping a local business.
Right.
Yeah, maybe they got busier, but essentially we're helping them grow. Because their goal is to make more money, expand.
Yeah. If you ask the owner, what would the owner say?
Yeah, they don't complain. The owners never complain.
Of course not.
They appreciate the extra
gatekeeping.
business.
Yeah.
So that's one. And then another challenge that I often see in social media is, like, sometimes there's a lot of disagreement with Mexican food. For example, if I go to a place and I call it, let's say, for example, the best California burrito or the best aguachile, people take it personal, and it's like, no, that's not true, and then we start arguing why their version is better than this place. And not just like fans that get into it, it's also other business owners and other chefs that kind of take it personal. And it's like,
oh, dang.
I don't want it to be like that.
Yeah.
I think there's plenty of love to go around.
Yeah.
There's plenty of customers, right?
Yes.
And if you feel like you're getting attacked, like, this should motivate you to come out harder and continue to perfect your recipes.
Yeah.
But that's something that I see also.
It takes me to it was taking me to my next point, but then I got into your stuff. I'm like, wait, that's a really good point. It's true.
I got tea for days.
No, I know. Speaking of, being out there in the community and overcoming these challenges, I know that. Okay, where were we going with this? I was
the challenges, representation, the food. See, we're having such a great conversation.
Sí, es que por eso I always interrupt people, which is so rude. But
No, you're good.
I'm like, listen, if I don't interrupt you, I'm going to forget.
You're good. That's
No,
fine.
but okay. So how do you encourage, or because we've had this come up where, let's say they bring in controversial topics and be like, this is the best burrito, and everybody's on their negative comments. And, I was just at a panel in Tucson, and some of the creators, are taken aback from all of this negative feedback. How do you navigate that? And what advice do you give those who are getting into this game to how to navigate that?
So when I was starting out and when I started to grow, I hit my first milestone of hitting 10K followers.
Yeah, which is amazing.
It was great.
Good job.
But along with the good, the bad came too. And a lot of people were on my videos saying negative things. And it used to bother me. I used to get hurt just by people's opinions. Even though sometimes they weren't always directed towards me, it was directed towards the restaurant. And since I already built that connection with the restaurant and the people behind it, I felt like a need to defend the family,
That makes sense.
And my girlfriend would always tell me, like, you need to stop getting into it with people in the comments because you don't know who's out there. There's people that's crazy.
That's true.
And you have to be careful. And so finally, after a while, I stopped letting it get to me. It's like, you know what? People are always going to say something negative. And it's up to me how I want to handle that.
Right.
And so instead of responding with fire, why not just, if they have a question, I'm going to address it professionally. But I won't ever engage in negative talks.
That's good.
Yeah.
You know, and my advice is for anybody who's looking to get into this, and not just food. Maybe you want to be a lifestyle content creator. Maybe you want to do health and fitness.
Right.
You just can never take the comments personal. You know, you're always going to have haters out there. So it's better just to ignore it and continue on your way. Because there's, at the end of the day, you still have at least one person out there who are supporting you.
Have you had the need to report anyone?
No, I've been cussed at. There's people who make fake profiles to message me, and they'll cuss me out, but I just never give any attention to it.
Which is literally what we have to do with life, you know. What you are also, you go around to different areas. What has been one of your, outside of Phoenix, what has been one of your favorite areas to go and eat?
Like within Arizona or
anywhere? Because you've been to Tulum.
You know where she wants you to say.
No. Donde sea.
And it's okay.
I mean, I know you've been in a lot of places where you have been to Tulum. I saw you were in Mercado de Jamaica.
in Mexico City?
Yeah, to Mexico City. And then you've been all over.
So, quick funny story. Before a foodie came along, the foodie idea, I've always wanted to be a travel content creator.
Okay.
That
never took off. So
you're like, I'm better at eating than traveling.
Yeah. So why not just stick to something easier, food, less work. But anywho, so I love to travel. I've been to a lot of places, but my favorite city in the world for cuisine, like food in general, it's a tie between Mexico City. I love going to Mexico City. I go there at least once a year.
Oh.
Or at least try to.
Okay, I'll have to get pointers from you.
Yeah.
Really good food.
Yeah, that's like the street food capital of the world right there.
I'm a foodie. Sorry to interrupt you, but I'm a foodie, and I have a list in my mind, a bucket list, not because of where anything else, but the food. I'm like, I want to go to this place because the food looks bomb.
That's a good idea. See, you can combine travel and food.
Yeah, which you can get there. I know. It's just, you got to make more itineraries on the...
Yes.
You got to get friends with the Aerolínea, one of the airlines. You got to make friends with somebody there.
That would be the ultimate collaboration right there.
So what's the other city besides Mexico City?
I would say
area?
Lima. Peru.
I've never been.
I love Peru.
I love to go to Machu Picchu.
I've never been there.
I think they have some of the best food in the world.
And South.
They have an interesting fusion porque hacen papa and egg and like papa and egg mixed with lomo saltado is one of my favorites, no?
Yes.
Papa mixed into with so many different dishes, and then eggs mixed in with so many different dishes. I saw that a lot in the Peruvian cuisine, but it's so good. You're right. Yeah,
there's a lot of Chinese influence in Peruvian cuisine. There was a huge immigration. I don't remember when exactly.
Yes.
But if you go to Peru, you see a lot of Asian influence in the streets.
Yes, you're right.
It's crazy. And their food is amazing. I love Chinese food. I love Latin American food. So combine that together, it's like...
It's the best fusion.
How do you like their ceviche compared to the northern Mexican ceviche? Because there are different kind of ceviches. See, we even within Mexico.
I might get canceled for saying
no cancel. This is a friendly environment, everybody.
Don't get me wrong. I love ceviche. Mexican style ceviche I grew up eating that, so that's my favorite of all time. But Peruvian ceviche is very close to taking that number one spot. It's really, really good. And I told my mom that. She's like, "No, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about." And I said, "No, Mom, you need to try Peruvian ceviche. It's really, really good."
It's really good. You're right.
And your mom would say that because she's like the foodie of the foodie chef, though, right? She takes it personal. We all have that mom or tia, which I'm close to being that, accepting that role in my life, who makes really bomb food, but then they take it really personal. Like, in mi casa somos like women, and then my brother is the youngest, but we have a thing with our partners. They always piss off my mom when we just say, hey, if you don't want to piss off our mom or make them mad, make sure you don't say anything about the food.
So I want to put you on the spot, but I'll give you some time to think.
Okay.
During the holidays, we may have relatives visit or friends come over for some of the holidays and want to take them to try it if they want to try local food, wherever they come from. What are your top 3?
That's true.
Top 3. One of them would have to be Taqueria Jalisco.
Jalisco, and that's
all the way like on 83rd Avenue and Buckeye Road or Lower Buckeye.
Okay.
Yeah.
West side.
Okay.
And they have some of the best tacos ever. And they do more than tacos. They do pozole. They do all kinds of stuff. It's crazy.
I've never
it's
been.
really
I'll
good.
need to try it.
Yeah, you have to do it.
I'm
And
hungry.
it's
I
only in
have
the
to go.
weekends too.
Shoot.
So that's one. Taqueria Jalisco. And then I would recommend Mariscos Chinola.
Chinola, never.
Yeah, so it's a guy that owns. Oh, she knows.
Veronica's been there.
Yeah, so they're originally from Sinaloa, and they're based on 111th Avenue.
Oh, that's right, Chinola. They're playing out the.
I need.
Sinaloa.
Yeah. And so their aguachile is really good.
Really?
And you can get the Señor Foodie taco, which is basically.
That's true.
Yeah, it's a shrimp and marlin taco combined.
What's it called? Sonoragua?
No, the Señor Foodie
The
taco.
Señor Foodie taco.
Oh, really? They have
Yeah, that's
They
true.
name
We
a taco
forgot to
after me.
mention that. You have a taco. Tell us how to.
It's another reason why you should go.
Oh,
okay?
definitely then. So how did that come about?
So this food truck reached out to me back in May, and they were on the verge of closing down permanently.
Oh, dang.
They said, hey, we have been trying to sell mariscos out here, but it's really rough right now. We're not making money, and we're thinking about just closing the business. And they offered to pay. They said, hey, if you come down, we'll pay you for your time.
Right.
And I said, you know what? I'm going to come by. I'm going to try the food.
Yeah.
But don't worry about the money. And so I went, and sure enough, it was some of the best mariscos I've had in the valley. I mean, there's a lot of good spots that I go into, but that stands out to me a lot.
Wow.
The flavor of the aguachile is very unique. And I had plenty of aguachile.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It's making my mouth water.
yeah, I'm really hungry. And
I'm
so
thinking about it. And then I remember seeing the picture of the Señor Foodie taco. I was making my mouth water too.
And so I did a video for them, and it did really well. A lot of people discovered them. People were driving down from Tucson, from Prescott, all the way down just to try this
And
food
where
truck.
is it at again?
111th Avenue and Buckeye.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And they did good.
And
They
then-
started
and they stayed. They didn't close their business. They said, you know what?
That's an amazing
we have business
story.
now.
That's an amazing story.
And so,
Nice.
as appreciation, they wanted to dedicate a menu item after my name,
Oh,
and that's like the ultimate, highest honor that you can get. Yeah.
That is so
So-
cool. So es taco, pescado de marlin, ¿y cuál otro?
And shrimp,
And shrimp.
and they do cheese in there. Yeah.
Y tiene queso y luego tiene como pico de gallo y guacamole también, o no
You
guacamole?
can choose to put guacamole.
I'm like, I saw it. I'm like trying to remember the picture. I'm like, that
looks so
I'm
good.
sure I brought some today's
And that's
interview.
open ese sí todos los días?
Thursday through Sunday from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m.
Awesome. Now
But that
I
could
need to try
change
it.
once,
I need to try it. Okay.
Yeah.
And chinola, mariscos.
Mariscos Chinola. Yeah.
Y,
And then the third, sorry.
sí, el tercero.
Ooh,
I'm just getting ready.
Where are we going to go have lunch and dinner?
This weekend, what about the Monday?
I have a hard part with this question because I don't like playing favorites.
That's true.
I have a lot
I
of
know,
friends.
I figured.
I have a lot
I mean,
of good
you're
friends in
doing
the
it for so
industry. So just so anybody's listening, my list rotates. Okay, so this month is this, and next month is going to be different. Okay, so I hope nobody takes it personal.
And if you want us to try, go ahead and send us the information.
Yes.
We're taking notes.
For sure. But for the third spot, I would have to say, I'm gonna go with. There's a Thai restaurant called Glai Ban. It's a nice sit-down restaurant. It's like on 16th Street. No, I think it's like 24th Street. Yeah, 24th Street and near Thomas.
We went there.
Is that where we went?
That's what I'm trying to confirm.
Yes,
We went there.
so cozy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was bomb.
Yeah,
It's
food
really,
was
really
really
good food.
good.
And the cocktails, amazing. So
Yeah,
That
we need
was
to go
really good.
back
We
for
need
the
to go
cocktails
back.
because we went for lunch, so we couldn't have cocktails.
I am
But
a Thai
yes, we
fanatic.
definitely. Yeah.
¿Cómo se
me
llama?
Glide Bond.
too. Like bun.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, just for the record,
I think it's
this list
the
rotates.
Osborne, isn't it?
Yeah, it is Osborne, like 24th
Right.
Street.
We're gonna
Yeah.
get you every now and then. That's like, okay, now what? Now where do we go try?
right.
We tried those. Now next, what's the next list for this week?
Yeah, I know. We're gonna start wrapping up here, unfortunately. But before we start wrapping up, any exciting holiday projects that are coming up that we can let our viewers and your listeners know so that we can make sure
Señor
to
Foodie Enchilada coming up
apoyarte? ¿Cómo te
soon.
apoyamos?
You know, I did have some plans. I'm still not sure if they're going to fall through yet. So I'm keeping it hush hush.
right.
But if anything, what I've been working on lately is I'm trying to connect chefs from different backgrounds with other amazing chefs to do more collaborative pop-ups.
Ooh, yeah.
That's something that I've been really pushing on. I just can't give any details yet because there's a lot of movement going on behind the scenes.
So follow you for.
Yeah, so if anybody is interested in checking out those pop-ups, make sure to follow.
And where can they find our viewers find you? We know where you are, but how can they find you?
Yeah, so on Instagram, I am at @Senor_Foodie, and same as TikTok, at Senor_Foodie.
Señor.
Yeah.
Awesome. Y
La pregunta.
we should get a rum roll.
Yes,
Drum roll. Rum roll.
La pregunta.
Okay, so we know that being out there in the community and being a leader, it's hard work sometimes, right? And you're pouring out, you're giving of you. Thank you for the work that you do. I'm sure that there's a lot of people who are ahorita beneficiándose, right? Benefiting of your work. How do you keep your cup full? And ¿qué es lo que le trae sabor a tu vida? What brings flavor to your life?
I think going back to my passion for like travel, I like spending a lot of time outdoors. So when I'm not eating tacos and doing all these food.
Chinolas mariscos.
Yeah, right. I'm always out hiking the mountains around the valley.
Nice.
And then that is like the most peaceful thing to me. And so that's how I kind of relieve stress as well.
Is there a favorite one you have?
I'm always at South Mountain, so I would say that's my favorite.
Mountain.
Yeah, and
That's a
any
good
trail on
one.
South Mountain is beautiful.
And the
so,
weather has been awesome in the
Yeah.
morning, right? Well, at least the morning. Still
Yeah.
not
For
as-
sure, it's the best time to hike right now.
as
I
should
know
be.
it really is. This is the hiking season. Well, it's so awesome. I know that being in the social media world, it could get a little bit dark sometimes. So,
Yeah.
getting out there in nature is one of my favorite things to do as well too. And then if you can combine exercising and nature at the same time, it's like, how many birds can I kill with one stone? If I could climb up and eat tacos
en
at the
cuanto
same time.
bajes, exactamente. Replenish all of your calories that you lost.
Yeah.
Yes,
I will say,
absolutely.
funny story though. This is just how much of a foodie I am. In Tucson, you should come up when you're on your way to Tucson. Picacho Peak is really great.
I've done that before.
You've done Picacho Peak?
Yeah.
Okay. That one's an intense hike, okay?
It is, yeah.
One of the first times I went there, I
visited the bottom and taking pictures there. I've seen the sunset. It looks beautiful just from there.
That's nice.
Actually, my cousin and mi tío trabajaba in the campground. And so I also swam there in a pool with my cousins and almost drowned. Thank you, tío, por salvarme esa vez que casi me ahogaba. But anyway, I haven't hiked the mountain yet. Though, but
Well, okay. Well, maybe soon you'll add that to your list of Picacho Pick activities that you've done. Pero, okay, so it's very intimidating. But that's why I was like, I have to do it. The day that I did it, my friend and we ended up going out. So the next day we were like, should we go? I was like, we have to go. I've been saying we're going to go. So we went, very dehydrated, very tired. Wow. And on the way down, but we very determined. And that hike is one of those hikes that's like, desde que empiezas, it's like, do you really want to be here?
Right.
So you get up there, it's like steep. Finally got up there. On our way down, my motivation was there was an In-N-Out like maybe 20 minutes away from there, 15 minutes away from there. So I was yelling at my friend. I was like, Ashley, run. We cannot walk anymore. Let's run down this. It's time for food. So that was my motivation to hike down Picacho Peak. Anytime there's food at the end, I'm like, yes.
Well, there's always a Dairy Queen. I mean, it's the must up there too, right?
Yeah.
See?
Pero iba a comprar con maña. I mean, I wanted the full meal. Let's just run. The faster we get there, the faster I eat.
Right.
Pues Bryan, ha sido un placer. Thank you so much for coming in and your first live interview. It just a full circle where you just working and passing our studio and our offices, and then now being here with us. It's been amazing.
Yeah, and us growing up together in the same school.
Like in the same, I live just down the street too, so it's really awesome. And what you're doing, it's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're very strategic, and you make sure that you keep authentic and stay focused on what you really want to accomplish, because it's really easy. I mean, especially in this world, for you to just move into and get paid for whatever and live a good life. But instead, it's about mission. It's about your passion.
Yeah.
So that's really amazing. And I appreciate you sharing your story with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Really,
thank you.
thank you.
And we hope to see more of you around.
Yes. We love to hear about the project. Maybe you can come back then.
See?
Yeah. Well, when you have some tamales, invite me over. I'll come.
There you go.
Now we know what to bribe him with.
I'll be here.
And then we need to try your mom's tamales too.
right,
This time. Thank you so much for joining us. Ha sido un placer compartir este espacio con ustedes. En nuevo episodio de Empodérate. La siguiente semana tenemos a un profesor y autor también de un material,
libro.
una masterpiece.
Masterpiece.
That we will have to introduce. Also with that amazing story, also from the neighborhood. So we'd love to share that with you. All of this and much more next time en Empodérate. Síganos en Instagram, CPLC Empodérate. Hasta pronto.